Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to College COD. We are getting ready to gear up for our second matchup of the night. We got UTD COD Orange going up against Texas State, and it's going to be myself, Visions, joined with Proper here, bringing you the Texas breakdown. We are filled with energy, Andy. We are hyped. We're here for the last two matches of the night. I hope you guys at home are strapped in because we got a lot to talk about and a lot to break down.
Yeah, we sure do here. I mean, we're going to be starting everything off of the Western Conference, Southwest Region B Division match, Austin, and there's just going to be a lot to still unfold. We're only in the second week of College COD. There's so many teams, so many narratives to be built, so many profiles that we have not been able to see. A lot of sleepers from last season are returning inside of this season, and some returning members. Speaking of that, is this UT Orange roster. A lot of individuals will probably know Mr. J Pistachio for what they do during an internship, and maybe just some of those memes that you do see posted on the internet. They're going to be here as the captain for UTD Orange, playing with Nate Fiasco, Snow, and Inviage. And this team, a lot of individuals did coin them as a top 3 team going in towards the playoffs last season for Modern Warfare. Going in towards Cold War, it's going to be nice to be able to see what they have to offer us.
Yeah, this is a hype matchup for the simple fact that we just got one of our first looks, the top 25 teams currently within CCL. Both of these teams being on that top 25, 19 and 21 here going head to head. 19th, of course, for Texas Dallas Orange. Texas State just behind them at 21. And well, they're looking, of course, to overtake that. And they want to get bumped up a couple pegs and let everyone know that the standings, they're not correct at the moment. And we all know that is obviously talked about quite a bit within the scene and on Twitter. And it's always a great time. But both of these squads currently 2-0 going head to head as we get ready to go in towards what we actually have for you. And if we take a look at least at our home team here first, for as far as what we're going to be able to get in the roster rundown on these guys, very, very special for the simple fact that you already mentioned it, Andy. A lot of players I think that people are probably going to recognize from previous years going in towards this matchup, which makes things that much more exciting at the very least. So really looking forward to what we're going to be able to get going head to head here. And one of these teams is going to remain flawless. The other one is not. And even when we were looking over a lot of the stats and actually talking about a lot of the players on these rosters, there's a lot of like crazy KDs that we have here for ourselves that are just like astronomical, almost unacceptable to a point here. But doesn't even look like we have time to go over the teams as far as what we got. But if we take a look at UTD Orange, we got Mr. J Pistachio, we got Fiasco, we got Snow, and we got NB for as far as these four. And we're going to see exactly how things break out for us as we jump right in towards the Checkmate Hardpoint, Andy.
Yeah, Checkmate Hardpoint. None of these teams, two teams, I don't know if they played a match earlier. I know UT COD did. I don't know if they played the Checkmate Hardpoint, but so far as the website is concerned, none of these teams have played a Checkmate Hardpoint. So this really just comes down to ARs controlling those longer lanes, your SMGs controlling the presence for that plane when you have rotations. And so far, so good. Looking at them on board with Texas State, at least for the mini-map's concerned, they're in control of the entire east side of the map, but they're not looking too strong as far as the P1 goes. And with these kills continuing coming through, and this lane being controlled by Mr. J Pistachio, UT COD Orange, they're actually going to hit this from the back and spawn Texas State out.
They can't afford to lose this rotation, and Mr. J Pistachio finding that first entry might have just won it here for them. Scripps has an important role to play himself. Needs to see if he can try and find Snow, and he does off screen. Mr. J Pistachio, is he good for the trade? Not just yet. Scripps with the reach out. Won't be able to take down Mr. J Pistachio in towards the back here. But now the problem is he doesn't have the support he once did on that initial push through. So as we take a look at what we currently have for ourselves, still a battle as somehow Justin's been able to kind of maneuver around everyone, but Scripps comes through with revenge, Andy. He will be able to pick him up. And now as we look in towards the back of the spawns, things are still chaotic and no one has complete control just yet.
It's not a total break of the spawns, not quite yet. Not with UT COD Orange in possession of the hill, but finally NV does end up spawning out. But the numbers are not swinging in Texas State's manner. They immediately get pushed back. Now we're looking at 20 seconds for P2. The few attempts that Texas State had to break inside this hill are now gone. UT COD Orange, they got a small amount off of P1 and a really good amount off of P2 from breaking inside those spawns. And a really good defense off of having the closer reinforcements. So now we look onwards in towards P3 as Scripps ends up taking down Snow, trying to barrel their way over towards said rotation. Texas State, they do have it. They have the middle of the plane. They have these wings in control as well as UT COD Orange. Not going to have an easy go of things of making their way across the map.
Texas State need to start getting themselves some points on the board, and finally that's starting to come through. But this is a very difficult hill to do exactly that, as Rage now needs to get himself in towards the mix. Already 5-3 start, looking to collect some extra players as they make their way for another break attempt. Good shots from range, starting to bounce in and around the hill. Mr. J Pistachio not standing a chance against this 74U, as Rage finds himself on 4 in a row, almost 5. Snow will be able to clean him up. So things slow down for a quick moment, but we finally see Texas State starting to get themselves some crucial points.
Crucial points would be good. P3 traditionally scrappy here on checkmate. For all intents and purposes, Texas State would really like to have this time for sure. And they're doing a good job of holding it. UT Cod Orange, they're going to be feeling okay with it given where they're currently spawning at. An easy rotation for them over towards P4 and 5, where we've seen a lot of good holds. But Texas State able to find a handful of kills. Draco still having control of this wing. UT Cod Orange can't just fly over inside the zone. Not quite yet. Fiasco with a nice kill to be able to keep this north lane clear for the time being.
Keep your eyes on Rage for the objective work. And not only is he doing the objective work right now, but he is slaying out, almost finding himself the push through there on towards Mr. J Pistachio. So this has now at least been a great comeback coming through for Texas State as they look to get themselves even more points, starting to step things up in that last hill and in towards this one. You can see everyone on the mini-map right now for the side of UTD Orange. They're getting ready to set up this break, and they need to find the break now because points are going over. Fiasco, he goes for the challenge. He finds the entry, but Scripps able to back his squad up. Not good enough for 2 as Fiasco gets himself to the power position right on top of the point. It is now tied 63-63. Scrap time to play for. Can Fiasco play his life? He's got a bit of assistance, and Jay, he finds himself 2 in a row, cleaning up the players on the last hill, and that means Fiasco is also on 5 in a row as this UT Cod Orange squad, Andy, they are starting to heat up.
They really are, too, and they're doing a good job of just controlling the pressure and the presence throughout the entirety of these lanes, and that's exactly what you need. But Texas State, they're not too far out of this. I mean, we're going inside P number 5 through a first rotation, and there's not really a distinct leader. There are good kills here and there for both of these teams, and possession of the hill is being contested for a decent amount of time. Texas State, I mean, they're doing a great job of just making sure that they're not getting killed off convincingly to where UT Cod can have all the dominance that they would like, given if you just look at the scoreline from top to bottom. I mean, Pistachio and Fiasco, 14-11, 12-11 themselves respectfully. With the submachine guns for Texas State, they're doing a great job of just getting in their face and making sure that they can't continuously set up, which is why Texas State are still finding a lot of value as far as hill time is concerned, given that UT Cod Orange are so in control of these spawns. They're going to be looking at the back 20, but going in towards the second side of the hills, Texas State, they're not feeling too bad.
Not feeling bad as we take a look at the resets. Just about an even game, as this should be. Texas Dallas Orange grabbing the scrap time, putting themselves in the lead, but just barely. Initial setups this time around going to be a much better for Texas State. Snow, only one really here challenging at the moment, has a lot of players in front of him to battle out against. Wallbangs coming through. No one really dropping. That's going to be the Mansell awkward gunfight. And Draco, he finds the push through and gets the kill. Mr. J Pistachio in the back looking for the 2-piece. Can't find either one as things are remaining chaotic. Not a whole lot of control for either one of these squads, but so far in the point itself, Texas State looking to actually grab a bit of this time. And as soon as I say that, Andy, they do actually get broken for a quick moment.
Yeah, and Texas State got thrown around too. Mr. J Pistachio did end up spawning in by P2 right behind that yellow crate. And now they have themselves an off angle, and that really threw off Texas State for where they were looking at, and just allowed UT Cod Orange just to flood and being able to get possession of the middle of the plane, plus the spawns to boot. So this immediate control is back in the favor for UT Cod Orange, and they're fighting a lot of good kills too. Mr. J Pistachio's on 3 straight, 21-14 for themselves. They're keeping Texas State just so far at bay, they can't even comfortably work their way through the middle of the map.
They do at least find the first one. They take out Mr. J Pistachio. Second one falls there off screen. Fiasco, important role to play, and he can't find more than one. So everyone has to now watch the back to make sure spawns do not get flipped out. Meanwhile, the hill gets contested as the pressure starting to seep on through. Can they get themselves all the way towards the back? That is going to be a hard no. Texas Dallas Orange doing a great job of controlling the spawns, and now they'll turn their focus over towards the point. One player, Draco, inside of Cylinder, doesn't stand a chance. Mr. J Pistachio finds himself 24-15 here now, Andy, as the spawns are unlocked, the hill's unlocked, and this is going to be an excellent hill that comes through here for them on P2.
It's just such a nuisance when an AR of Jay's caliber is just going off in a match like this, right, Asa? I mean, if they're getting close range gunfights, they're clearing up enough space, whether it's from medium or close. And with an AR, they have so much more potential, especially given on the map for checkmate. There's a lot of just cross angles that you can find very easy with an XM4. Mr. J Pistachio is just practicing that wonderfully. But Texas State, though, again, this is where they could potentially try to come back. They did get knocked around the previous few hills as far as kills are concerned, but they really got to try to get Mr. J Pistachio out of the center of this point. That would then be able to open up the avenue for them to work through the northern lane while also being able to contest the hill.
We know when Justin gets himself on stream, Andy, he's warming up, he's getting ready. He wants us to say his name as much as possible, and we're going to give him the POV at the moment One player in from behind. Won't be good, but it will be a teammate that cleans him up. Finally shuts down that spree, and Texas State actually will overwhelm the point. They get the numbers in. They have some control here. Last time they collected a good chunk of their time actually on P3 Hill. We don't typically see that. A chance to now grab the last 25 seconds. Draco is also starting to think for this rotation, but things get scrappy for the back 10. Rage trying to figure out where he might be able to actually take some shots, and with all of the UTD boys coming in towards the point, you thought they were maybe good for the last 5 seconds, but it's Rage who will be able to clean things up. And we take a look at this rotation, Andy. Texas State, they're here first.
Sure are, and now this is where they're really going to have to try to light things up. This is a big swing moment for Texas State. If they can find these kills, it's a big trade coming through. Rage standing up top, quick trade coming back through from Snow, and quick possession with 45 seconds remaining. UT Cod Orange are here. Texas State, they are spawning in so they can try to reinforce this, given that Scripps can hold their light. They can't, but Tactic ends up going big on the front, but who is it other than Mr. J Pistachio to hold the long lane, Austin?
33 and 19. Really just on fire right now. Okay, Justin, we get it. You are popping off, and he is not stopping. Texas State have not been able to match this slaying pressure thus far, and really it's the AR pressure that is the most overwhelming. That is the hill that was set up there for Texas State, but they couldn't hold on to it. So we look towards the rotation where they're once again at least going to be here first, but they don't exactly have the setup intact just yet. Tactic, he finds himself in the middle of the plane as he looks to start cutting off this rotation towards this new hill. 190 to 122 is what we currently have. Texas State, they need to find the bounce back, and Tactic looking to give it to him. He finds the first one. Fiasco in the plane. Tactic finds the second one, and now it's just a battle for whether or not they can keep the spawns in the back.
Back would guarantee themselves at least another 25, 30 seconds. And even look at the spread on the minimap. Tactic is still going up, by the way. This is number 5 for them, as Fiasco's going to meet the quick demise trying to challenge this young buck with the XM4. Now will finally be traded on out, but look at the time on the clock for P5. Just only 28 seconds remaining. And Texas State, I mean, if they can just soak up the rest of this, they are just right back inside of this game. UT Cod Orange, on the other hand, they're fine with giving up the back end here because they're just going to try to spawn trap Texas State and look for an easy rotation plus the early time on P1 just to try to close out the game on 2. But Texas State, on the other hand, they really have a good opportunity finding these kills in the middle of the map just to bring themselves right back.
Yeah, I mean, this is incredible. They get themselves back in the game. They also take a lot of the players out of the power positions here on the wings and inside the plane. So the setup not going to be super effective, and Rage is actually there first to be able to get the initial time. Jay realizes he can't exactly pressure the plane right now. Needs to try and focus on making sure they hold the spawns for P2, as that's where the game might just end for us. But he will now make the decision to come on through. Finds the slide. Snaps for 2.
Wow.
Big kills here for Justin. 42 kills for him now as he is inside the plane. He is set up. And now it's up to Texas State for them to find themselves a break.
This goes P5. Pistachio's dropping 50. I'm calling it right here, but Tactic will end up taking them down. Trophy Systems will soon meet their fate at the same time. And for UT Cod Orange, I mean, you can even see, like, they're not trying to get wildly aggressive. Fiasco's going to try to find some very quick kills. Might just be a little bit of a pinch for Snow. I mean, if you can keep this contested, you can keep their favor. Really keeps Texas State on the back burner because they will be spawning out, not unless Shareko can make a play. That's a player all the way down on the southeast side of the map. Nope, Jay Pistachio will have that angle more than covered, anchoring things out for his comrades. And inside the plane still being contested, Texas State would really love to be able to get all the time, and they can't find the break inside the new.
Also note, game clock pretty low here for us at the moment. Just about 25 seconds left on that clock. Envy will start to back up here of the overwhelming pressure coming through the front. Mr. J Pistachio, well, he finds himself 2 here once again. He's got the entire cross, and this is a dangerous moment now as we're looking at the scoreline. UTD Cod Orange, they have themselves the lead, and they could look to close things out. Game clock's at 16 seconds. Snow is also pressing forward for even more map control. Everything swinging their way and in their favor, but Scripps might be able to make his move, but they got to deal with Justin. He finds himself on 5 once again. Finally might go down towards his 6 here, or he will not.
Good help.
Gets the help. Fiasco will be able to take him down as Snow puts himself right back on the point. There would have to be a break, as it looks like the game can still end for us on P2. They have no real control, but they do find a couple of kills in concession. Can they get towards the point? I mean, there is so many players zoning it. They'll leave it to the game clock, so it will at least go one more hill.
Yeah, and on the scrappiest hill, too. I almost like to think that for UT Cod at that point, we're probably just looking at it, just try to stall the clock. Let Pistachio get his 50 bomb. He's unsuccessful in that manner. Here come the kills through the center, even a team kill to be able to help things out. It will go down to game clock, so it'll be a 247 to 208. Nope, UT Cod Orange would rather get that perfect 250, and they will be able to obtain it.
Oh, that's one way to kick off the series here for us. Did Justin get the 50 there for us, Andy?
No,
I'm not sure.
like 47, 48.
Just
Didn't
short.
hit the 50.
But
Yeah,
still,
I'm
that's
disappointed.
without EKIA. I mean, with EKIA, he probably had well into the 60s there for us, for sure. Because there was just so many moments where he was going on these tears and these rampages, like 5 sprees just came in there. It felt like at least 3 or 4 times. Just absolutely incredible stuff coming through. A real statement match. And not only was he slaying there for us, Andy, but he was also just playing this anchor role, right? We saw it there at the end where he was holding that cross towards the point. There's no usage of smoke, so you can't exactly block off that line of sight, and you can't get your subs in towards the hill. If you're not getting your subs in towards the hill, well, then they're simply not breaking the hill for you to get inside of. And he was able to do that and just playing towards the back there, just making sure no one's able to slip through that net. Just excellent work coming through here. A big game. And well, the Battle of Texas, at least for map number 1, will swing the way here for Texas Dallas Orange.
Yeah, it sure will too. I mean, what's just such a great deterrent away from just pesky submachine guns, which for Texas State they certainly did have. I mean, again, 2-0 walking in towards this match, and for Rage and Draco prior to this match, Draco was sitting at a 3.86 KD, while Rage was sitting at a 2 overall KD. That's just for hardpoint. That they have been really pesky. What's a great deterrent away from that? A great AR, and Jay Pistachio just holding those long L's on checkmate hardpoint, just making it just so damn difficult for SMGs just to get in there, like you were talking about. So UT caught Orange up 1-0 ahead of this Moscow hardpoint, or search and destroy rather. If they can continue to play just this wildly aggressive and just outgun their opponents, then honestly, we're just probably looking at the overall A brawl.
Yeah, I'm sure they want to take a few moments. Let Justin cool down a little bit. Don't let him back on those sticks right away. Give him a minute or two to at least take a little bit of a breather, because it almost feels like if he does go right in towards this, this next map with the same fire he was bringing in map 1, they could certainly carry that momentum right through here for themselves. And interesting enough, we go over towards Moscow, where this has been a pretty big traditional pick. It feels like a lot of the time for Texas Dallas Orange. I mean, I think Moscow, at the very least, when we're talking about the veto systems, is usually the one that kind of just slips through. Everyone's pretty comfortable with it, with the way it kind of just works out and plays out here for us. But they already have themselves, a pretty decent record for as far as this map. They're 2-0 on it. They've only lost 1 round so far while playing it over the course of those 2 maps here. So they're coming in with a lot of comfort. And I mean, the best possible thing you can do, especially when on broadcast, is getting yourself as comfortable as possible. And I mean, that obviously showed with the teamwork coming in there for us in the very first map here. They're going in towards a map they've already had plenty of success on, which means the pressure is now really on Texas State to see exactly what do they have prepared here for us on Moscow. How are they going to be able to adapt and shut these guys down who are already kind of on this hot streak?
Yeah, you can only imagine this is probably UT Cod Orange's map pick for sure when it came down to the ban of vetoes. And like you said, I mean, most teams would probably feel comfortable on Moscow given how defense does work, and have a boomstick or a smoke to worry about. So as long as you're just holding the lanes, you can convey information. A lot of teams do find success on this map, but still, across for the website, it only found just 1 game as far as stats are concerned. And for search and destroy, Envy has a 16 KD across one of those wins on this map mode combo. So just let that set in for a second, because the SMG presence, I mean, we're slow considering how the range does work on checkmate hardpoint and why Pistachio was able to find a lot of success. But for Moscow search and destroy, it really does come down to the SMGs being able to break through either those strongholds that you're looking for on offense for that A site, to be able to find those picks while you are rotating down escalators across checkers inside of the apartments S&D side as well. The SMG lineup really has a key component for success on this map. And without Texas State playing this in, with just looking at the individual stats coming through from Draco and Rage, much off of their performance from the hard point, I could only imagine that they might be able to make this pretty close.
Yeah, and you touch on Envy's, stats, at least for as far as what looks to be probably one map with that 16.0 KD. I mean, he was running the sub for us, last time, of course, looking at checkmate. I'm curious to see if that's what he's actually running when he's actually playing out on towards Moscow, because if that's the case, maybe Justin doesn't even have to go off, right? You can just rely on your subs to take over when we're talking about attacking and defending that A site that is most popular. I mean, that is certainly something that we're going to keep our eye out open for. He looks to be one of the stronger search and destroy players on this roster, which means that he's the one that we're going to be looking out for here. But Texas State, they're also 2-0, you have to remember. And as much as that's maybe a bit of a shaky map number 1, it really just came down to a lot of those rotations and just not really executing on those team pushes that had to come through and simply didn't here. So I don't think you feel too bad about that whatsoever coming in towards this map number 2, but you might feel bad about the simple fact that they're just going to be maybe more experienced and have more setups for as far as you're going to have to really dissect this. And I mean, I'm always a big talker about search and destroy, just being able to utilize those first couple of rounds, first off, when there's no trophies up, make sure you're getting in towards the faces with those stunts and nades. Those are the most important rounds that you're going to be able to use your tacticals and lethals. And then it's just making those adaptations as we get halfway through Moscow. It's like, damn, like they're stacking a lot of submachine guns over by this A site. How are we going to shut this down? Are we going to post up and start waiting with them? Or are we going to start matching aggression with aggression, which is typically the solution and the answer a lot of the times when we're looking at this map as a whole. But a lot of pressure certainly going to be on the shoulders of Texas State to be able to bounce back here for themselves. The Battle of Texas is just about to take place here for us. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we are loading in towards map number 2. Justin just dropped almost 50 kills, probably in towards 60s for the EKIAs, and he is the one that you're going to have to look at shutting down for as far as that assault rifle. And we'll see if Texas State is going to be able to bound together, get each other hyped up here for this match, because this is a really important map too here for them, Andy, to tie the series up before going in towards the control.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be going down 2 maps versus this UT COD Orange. I can tell you just off of having a handful of conversations with them that they are just a rowdy bunch. I'll just put it that way. They are very mood heavy. Let's just put it that way. But still, gonna have to get through Texas State to be able to create such a manner and for offense for UT COD Orange. They are going to be looking to hit A pretty quickly.
Scripps, will he look to make that move? I mean, his teammates dropping around him. If we can go back to his POV and see exactly if he might be able to clean 2 up here in from behind. He does find Justin. Goes for that pre-fire. Does get met by Fiasco. So all up to 1 here. Tactic. Shot's not going to land. And that is going to be the first round coming through here. Big round for Texas State to make a statement, as they're going to be able to get themselves on the board.
Texas State, well, the colors are swapped backwards. So
colors.
Yes, it's UT COD Orange.
My apologies.
If they, it's all good. It threw me off too. Like, for me, they're just one's a darker shade. So I mean, I was just looking at the top too, and then I was reading the kill feed, and I don't know, my mind just kind of spiraled down the staircase. And now I'm here. But they got a really good quick setup, and nobody read that Fiasco was over by the brick wall in the divot by A, and just so pesky when you're dealing with an AR and SMG on that site, both offense and defense alike. But Texas State trying to say anything you could do, UT COD Orange, we could do better. Trying to hit hay fast.
No one drops down here off the bat, but everyone very close to those engagements. And while it's going to be Envy, he finds first blood. But quick trade there from Tactic. Rage following up with the second kill. Now it's the double hit through the Eskies. Snow good for the first one. Jay good for the second. The duo up the escalators here, Andy, working off each other, watching each other's angles, and that will be an incredible 2v3.
Yeah, so I mean, when the communication came through that they were coming through A and the first line of defense had to then hold back, this is where you find yourself on offense for Moscow Search and Destroy. If you do end up hitting A, you really got to be able to work that escalators from the high ground to be able to read that. You can't let those kills come through as easily as they just did, because then it just sets up a very unfortunate pinch for you when the defense just starts to retake that entire site. UT COD Orange, they wonderfully, and now they're 2-0 up in the series, looking for their next offense. Gonna be looking for a little bit of mid-map terrain. It may be here, Austin, but might just negate that fully, and that would be the viewing presence of Tactic in mind, but they're in a spot to try to read this, and they will the first one.
Oh, Tactic, he gets out with his life with 19 HP. Extremely close, that trade. You would have loved to have had it, because now Texas State, well, their position is known. Fiasco, he finds himself a kill, which means that we get ourselves now with a 3v3. Everything's slowing down. Bomb not inside of this site, which means that we could get a rotation, and no one's really watching the middle of the map, which I'm sure will end up changing. And it's actually just a full wrap, which is the safer play. I do like this play a lot. However, this is going to be caught on really quick. You can see player 8 there coming through there for us, Rage. He very likely will look to start to move over towards A, but instead just watches the middle of the map. But they have gotten the bomb over towards this A site, and they're going to try to drop it here as fast as possible.
3v3 on the retake. Shots are going to be thrown over by the billboard inside of green, so Snow knows where to look immediately. Some Semtex is coming out as well. I don't think there's a trophy system here for UT COD, but Fiasco still picks off Draco.
Snow, a chance to be able to line up a couple of kills here. Does get blocked off from his line of sight there, forced back, but Fiasco finds Rage. Scripps now needs to go big. He finds 2. Can he get the last one? Does tuck himself in, goes to the pistol. It looked like it might come in for a second, but Justin, with those shots into the body, he says, no, 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 you don't.
He had bullets inside the 70-40 there, didn't they?
I think he had a few.
Go for the reload here? No, they YY'd it. Okay. So I honestly, I mean, they could have been 3 bullets. So the Diamante swap. I mean, plus the HP makes that a very difficult challenge to say the least, as Jay Pistachio will get the last kill in the round. UT Cod Orange will move up 3-0 here in the Moscow Search and Destroy. But I mean, for Texas State, I mean, that was actually just a brilliant retake. Having the player from the bottom side of escalators being able to go rogue and finding themselves 2 kill scripts just couldn't go big enough. And UT Cod Orange, again, playing through the middle of the map, got to be looking for this control in their favor to take site.
I like the aggression. I like the risk. But they do not have top esky control, so they do lose scripts in the process. And now they're kind of just caught in all of these corners. Snow waiting for that chance to be able to pounce in from behind. And Walt, he finds that first one, does get challenged and traded out. Draco, crucial trade to make sure they do not lose a second member. So we will go into a 2v2.
Texas State, again, just... They got it inside the checkers area and just started up. And just held angles. Played trades. Find themselves in this 2v2. And for UT Cod Orange, they had themselves a couple of pinches. May have just over-aggressed themselves as far as the turtling that Texas State just previously held. But they're going to find themselves crossfire here. But Draco, that's actually a really big kill. 2v1 for the A side.
Oh, Envy, the S&D superstar right now for this roster. Can he finesse for the 1v2? Jumping out like Superman. Brings home the shot. Makes it look easy. That's a round they had to get, and they do not. There was a reason they picked Moscow here for themselves, Andy. There's a reason they have only dropped 1 round over the course of the 2 maps. And I mean, they're maybe only looking to stay on just 1 round loss with this map win coming their way here in the next 2 rounds if they can lock it in.
It's a really bold call there for Envy. Again, as soon as you lost the 1 over by Pillars, you immediately just left there and used that as an opportunity to push over towards Escalators, try to find a quick trade, and end up realizing that it's 2, takes the immediate gunfight, slide cancels their way out for isolated 1v1s. I mean, that's exactly what you want to have from a submachine gun player for Search and Destroy, and Envy just showcasing that, given that they're only at 4 and 3. Those are those clutch plays you definitely want from them. And well, coming on through for Texas State's offense, been a whole lot of A for them, Allison.
They do actually throw a teammate here. Maybe just trying to give Texas State an opportunity to get a round on the board. Things slow down. Mr. J Pistachio has player close right, tucked in the corner. Scripts could just pop out for a trade. That's the info there. Mr. J Pistachio gets the kill and gets out. There's no way that can happen. And while it does happen, Fiasco ends up dropping. So once again, man advantage. Massive man advantage as Envy will go down. Jay reads the first one, but shots won't connect. So that will finally be a round on the board coming through here for the side of Texas State.
Keeping their head above water, just 1 round at a time here. Exactly what you need. I mean, 4-1, I mean, well, it's not as bad as 5-1, but again, it always just really comes down to when you are trying to play for the retake, you're just trying to play for the control of this AS&D site. There's so many rounds here just in this match alone. It just comes down to those escalators, man. I mean, like that dang pinch plus the brick half wall that you have to deal with on the parallel side is just such a nuisance. And if you don't find those kills quickly as an offensive team, you're going to find yourself in a numbers disadvantage pretty darn quickly. In Texas State looking to string together rounds here for offense. They said, well, we just won here maybe for a defensive round. Why not just try to outgun them 1 more time? But the bomb being carried by Rage is actually looking through the gold alleyway. Spots Snow afar.
Offense certainly has been a problem so far. Texas State, they've been able to create a lot of numbers advantages. They just have not been able to turn that into round wins. That now needs to stop here. Envy going to be guarding the entry. Nade comes out, does connect with a few bullets, goes for the second peek. Now desperately tries to get away. Snow comes up the middle of the map. Easy pickup for Rage. First blood and man advantage once again over to Texas State.
Snow just coming up the escalator. Just so focused on just 1 exit angle. Doesn't clear all of it. And, well, she's just gone completely wrong for UT COD. As again, don't pay attention to what's being said on the screen. That's a round win for Texas State. It comes out of Rage again. Look at Snow just coming up the escalators. Doesn't clear it fully. And this is just a big opportunity for Rage, who has all of the ability just to slide away, play all of this cover. Re-peeks back out, knows that there's a trade over by Bricks that they need to find. They do so. Unfortunate stuff for UT COD as far as the defense is concerned. Texas State stringing together a couple rounds. This could be a momentum shift. You would really hate to see it if you are a fan of UTD Orange, but they still have an opportunity to put themselves up on map points. Going to have to be an offense, and through previous times we have seen them work through the middle of the map. Their last attempt, just last offense, Austin, try to aggressively hit themselves through A. It all fell down from Texas State playing the escalators, but they have 3 players here defensively.
First blood here, good again. Rage finds it. Quick trade there for Envy. Has one of his teammates with him right now, just around Eskies. as they are at a disadvantage and will have to start to rotate out. And the middle of the map is completely clear for them to make this swift rotation over towards B. And Jay Pistachio, he's got himself the cross, but does decide to give it up. Wants to get himself paired right back up with his teammate, but they are spread apart here, Andy. Not playing for trade, just simply trying to see if they can get themselves a pick before laying the bomb.
Down in numbers, this is just so hard. You don't know if they're going to hit this fast. You don't know what they have left. They threw a couple resources over towards A as well, but if he's going to throw a bow, it's an option you truly always have as a COD player, and also ends up seeing Draco move their way inside of police. So Envy knows that they can't plant it here, but time coming in consideration, Austin.
Big move for Justin, read like a book. Tactic finds him. Envy now would have to get a 1v3. None of that. And well, what was a 4-0 start here for the side of Texas Dallas Orange is now going to be a 4-3 game as we're starting to see the breakdown of the rounds come through. And well, Andy, better late than ever.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it always comes down to those adaptations for Search and Destroy. You could showcase that. A lot of championship caliber teams end up backing themselves off of Search and Destroy. So, I mean, Texas State able to showcase their ability just to slow things down, just try to wait for UT COD Orange to make the first unforced error. And they're coming out on top of it, just watching just key angles and turtling up when they need to. Now looking to make this 4 rounds in a row for an offensive. That would be impressive, Texas State. Going to be just trying to wait to see if any member from UT COD pushes too far forward, and they will. That's Snow for First Blood.
These First Bloods, man, they've been coming through the entire game up towards Texas State finally. And it's going to come through again in the middle of the map. That's going to be Justin J. Pistachio trying to line up too. It looked good almost for a second there on the second kill. Just not going to be able to bring it home. And now options available as Envy tries to rotate back, reads it, but it is a team kill that ends up coming in here. So it is going to be a 1v2. Fiasco, what is he going to be able to do here for himself? Bomb is going down. Middle map is going to be cut. Fiasco not ready for that. That is going to be 4 rounds in a row. Responded with 4 rounds in a row. We got ourselves a tie game here, Andy.
It's risky, but brilliant. Having scripts just covered through the middle of the map, seeing if the rotation was coming through escalators. I mean, you have no coverage or any point in time of a player just working their way in through square by P2, but tie game, yes, indeed here, sir. 9-4 for Tactic. Coming in off of the 2 maps that are calculated on our website, Austin. They have a .92 KD for Search and Destroy. Looking a lot better here for Moscow. 6-5 for Rage. Able to swing things back here. 4 rounds in a row, by the way. UT COD Orange looking to get aggressive through the A zone. Envy's going to be the first player in, and they're going to find First Blood.
Snow finds the second kill as well. I mean, these entry kills finally going to come the way over towards UTD, but Draco, he finds an angle. Draco finds a second. Now it's going to be a 1v2. Tactic in an excellent position maybe to stop this bomb from being planted. It's up to Fiasco to watch over his teammate, and he does so. Just an important moment, finally, stopping the bleeding as we get ourselves the 5-4 scoreline, and UTD are able to get themselves a round back.
Man, I tell you, that got pretty darn close. Tactic was in a great spot there. I don't think Fiasco immediately saw it. We see it here on the best play. The ending of that round, Fiasco barely saw them as soon as they centered their focus over towards the escalators. Tactic, you know, those wall bangs were just a little bit shy. We have that FMJ from Modern Warfare. Hell, that would have been a kill. But not going to be the case. Map point here to go up 2-0 for UT COD. Texas State going to have to get an offensive round win to send it to a round 11. Going to be looking to flip the script here. Going to hit immediately towards the boulevard. Inside the cutout wall, though, is Mr. Shea Pistachio. They are in a great spot to read this. See anything?
Everything. So tense right now for us, Andy. You can just see it. Just on the mini-map. Everyone just inching up so slow, checking corners, not wanting to make that first move that could cost them a kill. Fiasco, he's blinded. Forced to back up. Now decides to look through secondary window here to see if he might be able to get themselves the kill. First Blood's good. Tactic is down, and Bomb might not get planted as Snow actually responds on towards another player. All up the scripts and Rage. Rage does grab a trade as we got 40 seconds left.
40 seconds left. Now 40 seconds with the 1v3 for Rage. Finds them first. They're damaged up. They can't live for too much longer as the pinch came from the Boulevard side. So it's going to be UT COD Orange that wins 6-4 here on Moscow. Damn, did it get close there in the middle rounds, Austin, but it's going to be a 2-0 lead for Maps for UTD.
It was looking scary. it was looking scary because I talked up how good this Texas Dallas Orange squad is on this map and in this game mode. And they had only dropped one round up towards this point. They had the amazing start. I mean, they took 4 straight rounds, right, Andy? Everything was just going absolutely beautiful. And then it got to the point where Texas State was able to start to figure some things out. They got themselves back in towards the game. The problem is that they didn't have that going very early on. So once they got 4 rounds in a row, it felt like that was almost all they had left. They didn't have too many play calls to be able to continuously change things up. And a huge part of why they were able to bring that back was because of first bloods. And it's not like they were, not getting first bloods in those first 4 rounds that UTD Orange had actually taken. It was just the fact that they weren't closing out those rounds. And there was a lot of really big individual plays as well as some great teamwork plays going back to that Esky double team, watching each other's crosses in that Eskies area, being able to work through that 2v3. It's those rounds that really cost them and unfortunately now find themselves 2-0 down here in the series.
Yeah, and you even saw it right there at the end, just off on all cylinders for UT COD Orange, just the way that they were baiting out information, trying to play for the challenges as well. Mr. J. Pistachio saw that play entirely within the closing moments and then ended up having the entire rotation for their team come through green. And then they just played it out, bait shots, bait and switches for that first blood that immediately that just swarmed all over that BS&D site. Just really good to see that coming on through for UT COD Orange, that they are able to at least close out a map again for the rounds that got very close there for Texas State. It's just all about just being able to snuff out those final few corners for where UT COD Orange were working those pinches. But ahead is going to be the checkmate control. Now, I remember because I hopped inside a very rowdy Mr. J. Pistachio stream with these four boys going absolutely AWOL when they were closing out their first match of the night. And it was on a checkmate control. I do know that they did end up winning it. I'm pretty sure it wasn't a 3-0. I'm just going to go ahead and just say that was probably a fact. Now they find themselves here at Texas State. I mean, if you want to say that maybe they have any sort of upper handsman work coming their way, they did 3-0 Oklahoma State University just last week, but you're going off against a white-hot respawn team that is this UT COD Orange with a red-hot AR lineup leaded by Mr. J. Pistachio on checkmate. This seems to be their playground, man.
And the big problem last time we were looking at checkmate hardpoint, the AR pressure, just they could not battle out against Mr. J. Pistachio. I mean, we've said his name so many times, you might as well just get a counter going, it feels like at this point in time. But that was really the factor on why they were able to just get so much control. And because of that, the submachine guns were having a very difficult time to be able to get towards the point. And one of your biggest factors that you have for this Texas State roster, is actually being able to have Rage, who's been the objective player, who actually soaks up the time. And if you can get him into the positions where he's going to be able to capture the zone and be able to work for those close range gunfights, that's where I feel like Texas State is really going to be able to kind of find their strides and be able to maybe start to create this reverse sweep back in towards this series. Because you have to remember, for anyone watching, I mean, both these squads 2-0, and both of these maps have been extremely close. It's not like it's just one-sided. It's just kind of actually closing out these really final moments as we get in towards the end of the games here between map 1 and map 2. That's kind of been the struggle here for them so far. So a chance to be able to bounce back as we get into another respawn is what it's going to come down here for them. And I mean, if they're able to do so, we go towards a Garrison hardpoint in a raid, search and destroy maps where, hey, listen, Rage is going to be able to excel, right? Going in towards Garrison hardpoint, a much closer range map here for you. And even raid, you can find some of those openings in towards the middle of the map and whatnot to be able to create some plays. So that's where I think that this squad's going to find success. They have to be able to enable their subs. And if they can't do so through the battle of their ARs, then we might just get a similar result to how map 1 had went. And you already said it. I mean, they're getting hyped, Andy. They're gassed up. You got to kill that momentum. You got to shut them down. You got to come out here with a statement in towards that very first round and see if you can really just take the life out of them and then roll with that yourself. That's, I think, the biggest factor coming in towards this map 3 is going to be going right in towards it and having that important hot start.
Yeah, and we did end up seeing some of that. I mean, hell, that's why map number 1 and some of map number 2, it was so damn close coming out from Texas State that, if you do get the ARs in a great spot, so that way they can hold these angles, and even if UTD Orange, they do read this, the SMGs can just end up finding themselves a value of just moving on forward. We saw that from Rage and Draco in the opening hardpoint, and we also saw that from Scripps there inside the search and destroy from Moscow. So, I mean, for checkmate control, which could absolutely be very swing heavy if those kills, if the overextension comes through, and that's for both sides. It's not just offense or defense, but if you end up finding those influential 2 kill feeds in a row, and this map could absolutely flip on its head for a defensive team. So it's going to come down to those exact values. Who's going to find the kills? The SMG lineup absolutely needs to be enlightened here if you are Texas State, to be able to work the same presence that we saw from UTD Orange on their hard point here, given that they also had what felt about just 4 SMGs with the pace that they were setting. And if they continue just to have that momentum, if they continue to have those vibes that you were just alluding to, Austin, I can only imagine that it's probably going to be pretty hard to find yourself working across any of these lanes.
Yeah, it probably will be. And the funniest thing is, I was looking down in the notes and I'd smirked actually because also we have this Texas Dallas Orange Squad 2-0 on this map with this game mode. So, I mean, it feels like as we look at the videos that we came back to that, or rather started with that for as far as this entire map pool. I mean, this is obviously a great set that I think UTD really got here for themselves because it's just all about getting comfortable. And the sooner you get comfortable, especially at the beginning of the season, I mean, the better your season is just honestly going to go. And this is honestly going to be another map that Texas State are probably going to be fighting at a disadvantage with here. So this is a scary moment, but I mean, they got really close in the map too, a map that we did say they were also great at here, and they've also kept things close in the very first respawn. So we know they have it in them. Just can they get over that hump? Can they push through and actually break through that barrier and close things out? That is going to be the big question mark coming in towards things. But ladies and gentlemen, we are getting the green light going in towards map number 3, potentially the last map of this series, pending what we get out of Texas State. They got to put everything they got in towards this. They want to keep that flawless record here, Andy. They want to see if they can pass this squad here on the top 25 rankings, and it's all going to come down to what happens going in towards this one.
Yeah, it's also going to put a lot of eyes on for UTD Orange as far as power rankings are concerned. I mean, there's only 2 placings in between. This is number 19 for UTD Orange versus the 21 at Texas State. I mean, UTD caught Orange. They're showcasing their ability to work as a team. Their adaptations, search and destroy, plus their gunnies seem hot as all get out. Say what you will about Texas Internet, I don't really care because it's a battle of the big old state for us, Austin. And for both of these teams, one of them's going to walk away with the first L in their win-loss ratio, but it's going to have to be an offensive round here for UT caught Orange. Now that we have the colors correct, they will be represented in the orange and on offense first. They don't win the initial gunfight, so they're going to have to wait for the respawns before they work in another zone.
Coming through here for himself, Fiasco tries to press up and get himself right in towards that corner you saw there on screen for a second. Would have been an excellent power position, but will be sniffed out. Envy looking to try and find Rage, does get the trade. Another one right behind him, doesn't read it, so kills come through here, all white towards the kill feed. Much better start, already a good amount of time also taken off the clock. Draco looking for that second kill, but won't be able to battle out against Justin.
And Draco playing the Creek 6 here has a lot of good opportunities given how long some of these lanes are, just to be able to run UT COD Orange off spawn when they're trying to make a decision. And when we talked about the SMGs really starting to find their strides here, Austin, and so far so good as this little bait and peek comes through, then Draco with the Creek 6 just walks on forward for the help to take down Fiasco. 24 seconds remaining here for UT COD Orange to make a play happen, and the respawns are not too far gone, just 22 lives and 20 of UT COD Orange, but they're really struggling just working their way across the zone. They finally find a good kill feed, so now they're going to be able to show some presence and stop that clock.
Yeah, it's kind of just like the opposite script flipped on its head, where it's been the subs that have been having a difficult time getting towards the point. And well, you see it, tactics, scripts, they find themselves 3. Envy, the last one pushed up on the map. He could do a bit of damage here in towards the middle, but 10 seconds left, so he's gonna have to hop on this zone here to stop this clock. Scripps finds 2. He is now gonna just open things up drastically here as Tactic needs to find Snow, or rather Envy, and will be able to do exactly that. 3 seconds left. Don't think anyone is going to be able to touch that zone any further. So we said they needed to have a dominating start towards this control, and they do exactly that, as there was not even, I think, a tick captured in that very first round.
If there was one, it's not really anything to write home about. Just given off of just how good that defense looked for Texas State. How reserved they look, too. Off of just winning themselves a handful of gunfights. How many teams, Austin, all the way up to the pro level, do we see defensively on this map mode win the opening gunfight and just try to send 2 members over towards the spawn of the offensive team, and they lose that gunfight, and then they just give up way too much map terrain? Texas State do not. They just hold the line. Maybe they poke one player out just to try to get some information, but they don't just overinvest map pressure alone, and they just hold the middle of the plane, they just hold the lanes, and they're able to find the kills. UT COD Orange struggles, so now Texas State looking to string together around the middle map, middle plane. Be absolutely a virtue for an offensive success.
Gunfights come through right in towards the middle. Just trades back and forth. B will at least be attacked for the time being. Justin might have an angle on towards, but he gets gunned from Tactic. Fiasco, the second AR player, also can't manage to get any damage done here on the point. Tactic finding himself on a few in a row. People starting to actually pick things up. Texas State also stacked this with about 2 or 3 of their members. So this very well could be the more difficult zone that is the capture here going over early, and we'll look at that. It is. They end up getting it, but now have 2 minutes on this clock for round 2 to start working towards A.
And a 3 life lead too. Will now lose 1 Envy, just trying to go rogue as another player to the right is able to read it. And they're not just going to be able to exist back here. Rage is going to have to try to take them down, but the kills are not going in the favor for Texas State. Envy will lose their life, so the pressure off the spawn is now gifted over towards Snow, but the SMG lineup just with 2 minutes remaining for a round for UT Cod Orange finally start waking up. Texas State, they will be slowed down considerably. Their life lead now completely gone, but they still have the clock to work with, so they can slow things down. They can play for map.
They need to find Justin. I thought Justin was about to rip Draco off the heady. Doesn't do so. A little bit of stabilization coming through here for the side of UTD Orange. Fiasco in behind. A lot of these flanks paying off, as that's going to be 3 down. Make that 4, as the trade is going to be good there for Mr. J Pistachio. Envy, another chance to be able to press up and maybe find a couple of these spawner shots, though not going to be there. So that will be an important kill there for Tactic to make sure they are going to be all 4 strong coming out of their spawn. Have to deal with Mr. J up top. They do so. Draco right back towards one of his favorable positions. It's a stack on the stairs, though. Fiasco finds all 3. That's going to stall the push out as the 4th one also falls. UTD Orange starting to find some favor on defense.
Yeah, the turnaround of pressure is absolutely crazy for UT Cod Orange, and now they find themselves in a position to where they can keep Texas State spawn trap back over here. Just when you thought Texas State with 2 minutes on the board were going to be able to string together the zones very cleanly, a handful of gunfights don't go their way, and UT Cod Orange, they're keeping them trapped. They're still sending players back here. There's only 38 seconds or so remaining, and Texas State, they have been ever so pushed back. They're going to probably get one last good attempt here, Austin, as the pinch is looking to be set up from Tactic underneath the plane, but they're only down to 25 seconds.
Fiasco waiting for that challenge. Has the teamwork here with them. They will be able to clear out a few, but Tactic's still alive. Just can't play his life, and just once again forcing things back. Envy, how many times has he been in the back of the spawn? Won't be able to find value, but he's at least getting this information. And Justin now able to watch this cross. First one in towards his sight will be Tactic. He will convert on the kill, plays his life and backs up. There's still a chance maybe to move in for the touch, but Rage would have to go now. And now there is 0 time left on that clock. What looked to be a hot start will not convert for a round for the side of Texas State, and we got ourselves a tie game here once again.
Yeah, and that's the inevitable, just as we get one good look at Nate Fiasco of everybody just holding hands. Almost looked like one was just dropping loot for the other, just to try to pick up, just to force the next push. But very easy kills that came through for Fiasco. I mean, again, we are going defense for defense, but I mean, for Texas State, when they had the initial attempt to try to string together the zones, that's the initial push and pull that is this map mode combo, that if you don't win the gunfights convincingly, you will lose the map terrain very quickly, and that positional advantage quite literally means everything when you were looking to swing together a couple of zones.
Scripps able to get the kill and then play his life. Remember, submachine guns lurking in and around this top plane area. Really what a lot of this map comes down to. Gives you options to pivot for either zone. Snow can't win the battle here versus Draco. Pressure's still going to be immense for the side of Texas State, as Fiasco might have found a way to at least watch over his submachine gun player, but they drop right down. Could be a lineup. Fiasco doesn't hold the site. He will be traded. Justin now with a chance to start to make a heroic move. Can't do so. Snow forced to just solo play individually all by himself. See if he might be able to do a little bit of magic here on the A point. Will get challenge. Rage takes him out. And this is going to be defense matched with great defense here for us.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these deaths coming through for UT Cod, I mean, they're just losing just the timing a decent, I would probably say half the time. That really just need to try to slow things up at the beginning of the round, and rather than just trying to fly through either the B zone or the inner workings of the plane or the A zone respectively. Now you find yourself here, just 20 seconds remaining to try to make a play happen. You got some players over by the B zone, but you're down pretty considerably for life, so this push has to be pretty darn big. And well, it's not coming up too strong. Mr. J Snow has an attempt to try to get more than one player, but the Semtex is going to clear them out.
It's just so limited on time. I mean, what can you really do in these situations besides get yourself just a whole kill feed of Orange and then get the stack on the zone. They do manage to actually find a couple of kills, as I do say this. 3 players now on it. Justin watching the back to make sure no one's going to be able to play for a bit of a pinch. Envy starting to roam around the middle of the map. Chance to find Draco. Can't bring home the kill just yet. Will have the second attempt and is good, but trades right behind him, and it looks like A might just go over. Oh, that almost looks good. A chance to do so, but will be denied. Fiasco, one last good attempt to get in. Tactic will be able to find the first kill, but 1.8 seconds. Clock will be stalled. Envy having some support. Can the support get here on time? Snow is there. He finds the kill this last tick. It's been so close so many times. Can it finally come through here for the side of UTD Orange? It will, and they get the extra minute.
But it's still only just about 5 lives in between these two teams. The UT COD Orange really had an opportunity to try to slowly roll their way over towards the B zone, but Texas State, they give it up just with about 13 remaining for them, and then they just hold the angles. 45 seconds remaining now. UT COD Orange looking for a favorable gunfight, and it's the SMGs in between Snow and Envy that have really been lighting things up this round. They're looking for an opportunity to work the B zone.
Oh, Snow. Can he do some magic here once again? Point contested, and all those white members coming right through on his screen. Draco will find the kill. Justin up top, trying to lock down the plane control. Will battle out against Scripps, tags him up, but the stick is going to be good for the kill, and, well, they will be able to get themselves the kills in concession to close this one out. It did get a little spicy there for us, Andy. Just keeping that clock alive, getting on towards that point, getting the extra minute, but not enough when it came down to the lives.
Felt like that round was a marathon. My God. Well, that was only the 3rd round here on the control, but
it was a long round.
It was a really, really long round. It went down to the wire. That one zone felt like the clock was stopped there for like 25, 30 seconds before it finally went over UT COD Orange. Finally found the considerable kill feed that they were looking for through 2 offenses. Just couldn't find the last one that was needed. I mean, it was all just last string efforts, just solo players just moving their way in, finally swung in the favor of UT COD Orange to even see that last minute, but Texas State knew when to give it up. They didn't want to give up too many lives. They didn't want to give up the map position. Now they're looking to get for an offensive win. To really start the workings for the reverse sweep would be a 3-1 here on checkmate control.
Oh, up close tactic just got smoked there. Fiasco shooting nukes out of his M4 at the moment. Can he snap for Draco? Okay, yes he can. Finding 2 before ending on that life as things reset for a quick moment. 30 seconds already gone off that clock. Not a whole lot of the time being stopped here, as it's been great control across the board. Texas, Dallas, Orange have a good spread. Draco's starting to take away some of the members on that spread for himself, but they have to get through Fiasco. The ARs have been a serious problem. Great assistance in towards the back. Envy will make sure his AR will stay alive. Snow also going to find himself in towards the middle of the plane, as these subs just getting a lot of opportunities to go exactly wherever they like at the moment.
Yeah, they really have. In the previous 2 rounds for UT COD Orange, the SMGs have just been really woken up. You have Rage on the opposite side for Texas State. They're 25 and 19, and although it definitely doesn't go unnoticed, it's what the map pressure means for either of these 2 teams when it comes down to control, and for any team playing this map mode combo, that you can find as many kills as you would like, but if you're not replicating that for map control, you're going to find yourself here for Texas State, where they're going to be looking at a round number 5, and it's going to be close for kills, and I think that Texas State might just have enough to be able to put themselves on the defensive side, which certainly could be an option, which is why they're trying to turtle things up and not trying to push too far forward. UT COD Orange is trying to chase for these last few to really make that a close bargain.
I didn't do the tally for as far as lives, but we will see who actually has defenses. It's been defense the whole way through for us. Gotten some close offenses, just not enough to close things out. Justin able to just play down low up top, while it just felt like the big factor was just giving a bit of freedom here, some breathing room towards your subs. Let them do what they do. And, well, as we look at who has defense here for us, is going to be the side of Texas State here, Andy. So a chance to still pull off this reverse sweep if they can take this map. But we'll see if UTD Orange got anything in store for us on this round to be able to shake things up.
The only offense for UT COD Orange that they found any success on was last second, stopping the clock over at A and capturing it in their favor. They've lost the opening gunfights twice on over through the opening rip. But the SMG lineup, again, off of that previous round, have been lighting things up, Austin. You can't just shut out Mr. J. Pistachio there. 22 and 21. The opening gunfight goes in UT's favor, and they find themselves stopping the clock on 2 zones.
Envy 2 on the point. One more. Scripps gives him the challenge here. Will he get him the kill? Yes, he will. The fourth finally gets the job done, so the final tick does not come through, but you've made a bit of progress. Mr. J Pistachio will look towards the middle of the map. Rage with some good shots will find the kill. Just about 30 seconds in for as far as our play clock. Still time to work with. Fiasco finds the big kill in towards the back. Now opening up room. His teammates looking to stack this zone. Also, at the same time, B is being contested, and they will grab this A zone and put that extra minute up.
Well executed for UTD Cod Orange, just being able to find themselves not only the opening gunfight, but also the pressure. So you put one player over by B, you cause a little bit of ruckus, and you try to sack over towards A, while player may work to be rogue over towards that northern lane. They find themselves with an extra minute on the board, plus a lot of good lives as well. They're up by 6, Austin, and they can really slow things down. They can really play these lanes. They can find the kills while they're also having a player work the B zone.
B, a chance in from behind. That's 1, that's 2. Tactic just barely turning around to make sure it wasn't a 3-piece, but he is still in a bit of a rough situation. Snow will be able to clean him up in the end, so B going to be attacked, as that first tick should be good. Jade also stacking it with them, but in from behind, Rage is going to be able to take them out. That is 3 down. Envy, the last one, pushed up, and now all that map control that they gained here, Andy, is going to be gone.
Yeah, now it's actually in Texas State's favor. Player number 8 of Rage, 31 and 25, is pressed up. Double weapon setup, has an XM4, has 2 players in front of him, but Mr. J Pistachio is going to take them down. This is all while it came through as a 2-for-1 trade in UT COD's favor. That wasn't until Tactic did take down Pistachio, but now they find themselves in a win condition here. The respawn in life count has just dropped down to 4 for UT COD. Control the middle of the plane would be good. In Snow plus Fiasco, they're able to find themselves a handful of kills. 3-for-1 trade. UT COD Orange can touch the B zone.
They can touch, and can they capture? There's one more chance for sure, and Rage will be able to find that chance. Just smoking Jay there in that exchange. Able to now maybe find a couple of the spawners, seeing if he can chip away at the life. Still getting a little bit low here for ourselves with about 45 seconds left on that clock. The nade will be well placed here from Snow, and he'll deal with Rage on this push. First tick is good, but they need 2 more to get themselves in offense. Snow will jump on the point, stops the clock at 35. Script in from behind, good for the kill. Fiasco moving in and around, finds the exchanges and will come out on top with the trades. But Tactic, he might be able to get himself in and stop this entire push himself. It's going to be so close, but they can't keep anyone on the point long enough, and now we're getting so low on time.
Envy's got to keep their life here. 3 lives now remaining for Texas State. They are out of respawns here, Austin. Just up the scripts and Rage to keep this going. But also look at the game clock. Just for 13 seconds, UT COD Orange, they have the ability just to search for the kills. It's just a lone scripts that's left alive. Just trying to keep it going, but they can't. UT COD Orange are going to close it out 3-2. That's an offensive round win. Boy, did it get close. If the game clock wasn't there, we're probably looking at Texas State potentially being able to find themselves upon some of those gunfights. But UT COD Orange, within that 5th and final round, plus the one that they played prior, really heated it up there on the checkmate control.
Just the massive difference for as far as that opening break there for us, right? That's the big factor. They find 3 or 4 down and just create the pressure on both of those zones, and drawing attention away and making sure they can't all focus those resources in towards retaking one is what kind of splits them up and allows a lot of those initial ticks to kind of go through. And when you get yourself on an offense, you have that break and you get that zone captured, pretty quick in towards the round, you grab that extra minute, 2 minutes up on the clock to be able to work for the second one. Just gives you so much time to play with, as you were touching on there for yourself, Andy, and just chipping away at life was something they were doing a really good job at. And that means that they are going to be able to get the 3-0. There was no offenses up towards that point, but when it came down to round 5, they had it in them to close it out, and they get themselves the dub. So big congratulations coming through for them, as that is also going to mean that the Texas Dallas Orange roster is going to remain flawless here for us, Andy, and they're not going to get, pushed back on those 25 standings, or rather pushed out completely. They are going to remain flawless and keep things going.
Have a good straight of the regular season and just try to keep as strong as you're going through the rest of it as well, Austin. I mean, for UTD Orange, they have a very big season ahead of them. There's a lot of top dogs. There's a lot of colleges inside the CCL Season 3, man. And I'm not going to lie here for UTD Orange, again, being able to make it to the playoffs last season, that's great. But there's a lot of hungry colleges out there, a lot of hungry players to just be able to showcase their ability to be able to play this game.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for our second match. Of course, if you're just tuning in here for ourselves, we currently find ourselves in week 2 of College COD, currently split 1. But we still got one more match here on the night that we are going to be getting ready to jump over to. That's going to be University of Arizona up against University of Colorado, Colorado Springs, to see who might be able to end a winner here on the final match. So with that said, we'll throw things to a quick little break. Don't go too far. We'll be right back with the last match of the night.